Hello and welcome to What You Need to Know News. Today is February 7th, 2020, the year we all lived in hindsight. All right, what I want to talk about real briefly is some news you need to know. Rush Limbaugh received one of the highest honors a president can bestow on an American citizen. And it's got the left all up in arms about, oh, he's a racist and he's all these horrible things. He's a drug addict, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's funny how many liberal Hollywood types are recovering addicts, and I'm a recovering addict, so it's not like I don't have sympathy for that. But it goes against they don't have principles. They might have at one time, but they no longer have principles that they don't stick by them or hold them to be true, except in convenience, which means they have no principles at all. So what? He's a drug addict or a recovering drug addict. So what? He admitted it, but I have no great love for Rush Limbaugh. I did read his autobiography at a young age, and I thought it was fairly revealing. But I saw Rush go in a direction that I didn't care for. I didn't think it was productive to my way of thinking. Of course, I'm the most liberal conservative ever. It seems like it's because I'm a conservative by nature. It would seem because I've always been a conservative. I've always leaned right. I've always, I really admired George W. Bush. Reagan, for a long time was, heroic. I was okay with Clinton. I really was. I was okay with Clinton until it became totally apparent that he's a fucking rapist. And then Hillary, I've never liked because she's disgusting. I love Tulsi Gabbard. Yang is okay. So I'm not by any means a hard rightist at all. But I am conservative. But yet, Rush Limbaugh, whether for money or fame, to get sales and ads and listeners, became too far right for me. His facts were no longer as credible. His arguments didn't have the meat, I have a tendency that when the arguments start becoming weak, I start to turn off, because it's an IDW thing, strong manning stuff the best you can. Not that I'm not guilty of the same things. I'm just saying, when I'm listening to somebody and they're talking about race or they're talking about economics and they start putting forth frivolous arguments that I expect to hear from liberals, then I tune them both out. What's the point? And Rush kind of went that way for me. So I get how Rush Limbaugh is by no means a heroic figure as far as all of America is concerned. But here's something you have to remember about Rush Limbaugh. For many Americans, and mostly on the right, whether he is speaking truth or propaganda or just preaching from the right-wing pulpit, say like a Jesse Jackson, many Americans loved him and felt like he was voicing their concerns in a world where, if you're in a farmland, Iowa, or maybe even Oklahoma, or somewhere where the big city just doesn't even think you exist, hearing Rush Limbaugh on the radio waves made you feel like you were still part of America and somebody was voicing the concerns you had. Now, I'll say he probably influenced more than he represented, but he was a cult of personality. But to many people on the right, deserving of this medal. Okay, so I don't agree with the left-wing outrage. I mean, I know why they're outraged, but you can't get. It's so shallow. Obama got the Nobel Prize for what? For fucking making healthcare more expensive? For giving coverage to people who could have went to the emergency room anyways? for killing Americans with drones. For what did Obama do that was deserving of a Nobel Prize? Nobody can answer me this. Okay, because he was the first black president. So what? And good for him, though. Not that, hey, great. But you get a Nobel Prize for being black and getting voted in because our country's not racist. So you're reaping the benefits that our country isn't racist, but you call our country racist and therefore you get a Nobel Prize. I don't understand. Yet they want to fucking get all up in arms about Rush Limbaugh, who I really don't care for anymore. I listened to him for a brief amount of time, but me being me, I just like, oh, this is starting to get junky. This is starting to get, anyways. So that's the news you need to know. Rush Limbaugh did get this medal. It's not about whether he's deserving. He's a right-wing Republican icon that to many people have fought the fight, brought the message, and represented them, at least on the airwaves, and that's deserving. He's done it for 30 years, and that's half of our country. Let's say a third of our country. He's represented a third of our country diligently, and that his fans are still his fans. Did he have a drug problem? Yes. But for the most part, he's an iconic representation of, the right and Republicans, and that's deserving of recognition. 30 years. And it could be because he has lung cancer, and therefore, I don't know. And it is also staged. It's also, these things are used as props in the smoke and mirrors of what's government. Yes, Trump might have done it to troll the left, knowing full and well. Rush Limbaugh might not quite live up to the standards we once would want a winner of this medal to have, which, okay, I get that argument, but it's not like the left wouldn't do the same thing for like a Van Jones or who was Obama's preacher forever, the guy, the hate monger. But anyways, so that's the news you need to know. That's my spin on it. Have a good day.